Hello and welcome to the Trailblazers, where we sit down with women rewriting the rules of business and building what didn't exist for them. Today, we're talking about something half the population experiences and most of us are taught to hide it. Periods, those little bladder leaks that no one wants to mention at the gym. And today, my guest turned her own journey through heavy periods, endometriosis, a hysterectomy, and early menopause into a product that helps women keep moving without feeling like they're wearing a nappy into their leggings. She's the founder of NIXI Body, washable, absorbent, and very discreet underwear designed for movement, a product which is a 4-time award winner and Red Magazine's best perimenopause period product, which is now stocked in Boots, QVC, Parkrun, So LDN on Regent Street. I hope I said that right.
Cheers, well done.
Along with other independent stockists around the UK. Kelly Newton, welcome to the show.
Thank you so much. It's so lovely to be on here and speak to you. I'm super excited. Thank you.
I'm excited to get the conversation going too. Today, I would love to know what inspired you to launch NIXI Body and what gap were you trying to fill in the market?
So, I mean, you briefly touched on it in your lovely introduction. Thank you very much. I was somebody that had very heavy periods growing up. I ended up being diagnosed with endometriosis when I was 39 and had a couple of laparoscopies. I was then put on the coil, the Marina coil, and I bled every single day for 9 months. So they decided that maybe this is a bit much, and the suggestion was a hysterectomy. So had a hysterectomy. Very happy to have that. I was quite excited about not having to have a period or to be bleeding again, not having to wear like pads and tampons. But then unfortunately, I had the hysterectomy, which was fine. It was great. And then started early menopause, which my first physical symptom of menopause was bladder leaks. So I would be playing hockey, and every time I stretched for the ball, I would leak a little bit of urine. If I scored a goal, it was game over, which thankfully was very rare for me to score a goal. So yeah, but it became apparent that I wasn't the only one in the team that was suffering from these little bladder leaks. We were quite a varied age group of women in the team, but there were quite a few women in my age group, like in the early 40s at the time. And we would warm up and then we'd all rush off to the toilet and then we'd play half a game of hockey, all rush off to the toilet again at half time. Yeah. And then play our second half. And then before our kind of team huddle, half of us would be in the toilet. And it wasn't even the fact that we all needed to go, but it's that feeling of you feel like you might need to go. And obviously, you know, we're leaking as we're playing. So I was wearing pads. Hate wearing pads. They're so uncomfortable. They're so bulky. They move about, they rub, they chafe. And I thought it's got to be a better way to do this. So I bought some reusable underwear from Amazon. And they were just horrible. They were massive. They kind of crinkled like a crisp packet when really noisy, and I felt like I was wearing a nappy. So I thought there's got to be a better way to do this. And I was talking to the girls in my team, and I said, you know, I'm going to design a pair of knickers that you can't see underneath your gym leggings, and they're discreet, but you know, there's no VPL, but they're absorbent, so it will just protect me from these leaks, and it will make me feel more confident when I'm playing my game. So we used to laugh and joke about it. And anyway, I bought some fabric. I researched everything. What's the best fabric to use for, you know, absorbency? I cut up a pair of my old knickers and I sewed in this gusset. And the girls used to laugh. I'd be testing a pair of knickers out every kind of week at hockey. And then someone was like, that's actually a really good idea. This could be a really good business idea. And I've been a foster carer. I was a foster carer for 19 years. So I was fostering at the time, didn't have any background in business whatsoever. And obviously I'd just started the menopause. So my confidence, I feel, was at an all-time low. I was actually severely depressed. I had lots of the kind of mental symptoms of the menopause, panic attacks. I was palpitations. You know, I was really not in a very good place. But my husband was really encouraging. I had a little part-time job that I was doing as well. And my MD there was saying to me, this is a great idea. You know, you should really investigate this. So I started looking into how you get these kind of products made. Everything about learning how to start a business, basically, and worked with a technical designer. I knew what I wanted the knickers to look like because I've been cutting up my old knickers for the past maybe year or so. So I knew what I wanted these knickers to look like and feel like. And we designed a pair of knickers together, found a manufacturer in China. It's a female run and female owned factory. They speak great English. The quality is amazing. And I ordered 4,000 pairs of knickers, just like that. So yeah, it basically came from from something that I was experiencing, that I knew I wasn't alone. I knew that there were other women out there experiencing the same issues as me, and knowing that what was on the market just actually wasn't suitable for women, not just of my age, but women of all ages who still want to look nice and feel attractive. And I think underwear plays a really big part of that. So yeah, our knickers they're actually really pretty. I wear them every single day. I have to wear them every single day, because as much as I do my pelvic floor exercises and I see my amazing women's health physio Jenny, I still do suffer with little bladder leaks every now and again. And I've got an overactive bladder. I have stress and urge incontinence. I think, like most women, if I see my front door, even if I need a wee or not, as soon as I see my front door, I feel like I'm going to wet myself. And I'm doing a lot of running now as well, because I'm running the London Marathon next year. So, I knew that I wasn't alone in this. And sport has been a massive part of my life for such a long time. I've played sports since I was 9 years old. And I knew that, the team sport that I played, hockey, was really good for me, for my mental health, as well as my physical health. And I just wanted other women to feel comfortable and confident when they were playing sports. So a lot of what we do is around keeping your body moving, and that's through all life stages, not just menopause. And it turned out it was quite a good idea because lots of people then started to buy the knickers, and we've got a really lovely following of customers, really passionate and authentic and honest, very frank customers who love to share their journey that they've been on and how we've supported them. So it's been like a real life-changing kind of decision for me to set up NIXI Body.
And it's very inspirational, actually, that you're doing a marathon too, Kelly, because
Oh,
I'm sure a lot of women, and I'm guilty of this, you're kind of hardwired to go, and I'm the same. I see the front door, I should just go and just double check, right? And if you're running a marathon, you don't really have the double check vibe going on. So
no.
you need to be secure and confident
Exactly.
wherever you're going, right?
But you need to keep hydrated as well, don't you? This is the
Yeah.
thing. And I think a lot of women think that, if they don't drink, then they won't leak. And actually, you're making the situation a lot worse. You need to be hydrated. I think if you're not drinking enough, you're going to end up prone to infections, and you're not going to build up that strength in your bladder and your pelvic floor. So it's actually really important to hydrate as well. And obviously, when you're running, you're sweating. So you're going to be, just much fluid as you're intaking, you're going to be sweating that out as well, probably. So it's so important to hydrate and not have that fear. I mean, we do the expo at the London Marathon every year, and we do the national running show as well. So we've got a really good following of women that run not just 5Ks, 10Ks, park runs. They're doing marathons, they're doing ultra marathons, and they're running a long way in our knickers, and we get the best feedback from these women, which is, for me, this is what it's all about. The fact that we're supporting these women to be able to continue moving their bodies in a way which makes them feel confident and happy. There's no better feedback than that. So yeah, it's really cool.
When you say discreet under the tightest gym leggings, now this is something I'm really interested in, because gym leggings basically show everything. I mean, I've got to a point where I'm like, I don't care if everybody now knows I'm wearing underwear, even though my teenage daughter tells me that's not cool. That's not a thing. She's probably right, if I was honest.
Yeah.
So what design decisions and materials make that true for your legging?
Okay, so the knickers they're cut a seamless scalloped edging. And I don't know if have you ever tried period underwear or leak proof underwear?
Yes,
You have.
I
Okay.
like.
Right, yeah. So you'll find that the gusset goes either across the bottom or all the way up to the waistband.
Yes.
Which causes the bulkiness. I mean, you've obviously got a lot of protection from that, and they're great for nighttime. I think if I was having periods, I would probably wear a pair of absorbent knickers where the gusset goes all the way up to the top, because we know when we lay down, the blood tends to gravitate up our back. We designed ours so the gusset it ends at the crack of the bum, so you've still got that coverage underneath, and our most absorbent discreet pair absorbs up to 4 tampons worth, which is about 20 mil. So yeah, the gusset ends at the crack of the bum. We've got the seamless scalloped edging, but then we've also got like this ruched seam in the middle of the knickers that pulls the knickers around almost like Velcro, so they don't move. So, I mean, you probably find any knickers that you wear, you're pulling them out of your bum, you know.
That's right.
You don't get that with our knickers. They just sit. Where we've got that elasticated seam in the middle, holds the knickers so nicely around your bum, nothing else is moving, so you're not going to get any rubbing or chafing from the gusset. The knickers are made with a nylon and elastane mix. But obviously the gusset is made from cotton because you need to have cotton on your intimate parts. But we use nylon on the outer layer of the knickers because it weighs 1/7 the weight of cotton, so it's super light, super durable, so it's longer lasting. So we say that our knickers can last up to about 3 years.
Wow, that's a long time for period underwear.
I've still got knickers. This sounds disgusting, but I've still got my original knicker, my sample from like 6 years ago, 7 years ago, still in my knicker drawer, and it still washes up beautifully. The seamless scalloped edging is laser cut, so it doesn't fray. That still looks like new, and they're still absorbent. So, you know, I know there's an initial outlay, I think, when you buy this kind of underwear, but if you were to spend over 3 years, so if you were to buy 5 pairs of knickers, our knickers, and they would last you at least 3 years, but you were to spend about 90 quid, you're going to be spending about 150 quid on organic disposables.
Yeah.
So there's a saving, there's an initial outlay, but there's a saving over the years. But it's not just the savings to your purse, it's the savings to the planet. You know, over 200,000 tons of waste is produced every year just from disposable period products. That goes to our beaches, to our landfill. Every pack of sanitary products that you buy, disposable sanitary products, contains the equivalent of about 3 to 4 plastic bags, and that's not good for your hormonal health.
I was going to say it's toxic as well.
It is. It's not, you know, some of these disposable like tampons have been found to contain lead and arsenic. They contain dioxins, furans. They're not good for you. And so many people, I don't think there's been actually any research, but the feedback that a lot of the reusable underwear companies are getting is that since they've switched to reusables, they've found that their periods aren't as heavy, their cramps aren't as bad, their periods aren't as long. So, and I think that's because, you know, reusables are chemical free, plastic free. So you're not getting those, it's not messing up your hormonal, your vaginal health. So there's a lot to be said, I think, for using reusables. There's so many good reasons that you should be using reusables.
And I totally agree with that one, being users ourselves in this house.
Excellent.
Body, did you have to do movement, I don't know, test for movement, like squat or sprint or anything like that? And are there any funny lab or testing short stories that you can share with?
Everything that's done has actually been tested by us or by our customers or athletes. And this is the thing when you set up a business, it's, you know, the first product that I've spoken to so many other women who have set up product-based companies, is they're worried that the product isn't 100% right. But it's like, it's always, that's your version 1, and you work on that for your version 2, your version 3. The test that we did was literally with us, with ourselves, with our friends, with, you know, we've got a little team of really great customers that we'll send knickers out to say that this is the new style that we're thinking about doing. Can you test them for us? So everything's tested beforehand. I don't know if we've got any funny stories. There's probably, I mean, we get great reviews, very, very honest and frank reviews from some of our customers. And it's got their full name on the review. And sometimes I'm thinking, wow.
They're brave to come out. They're helping other women.
Listen, there's no judgment here. I'm so happy that you feel comfortable enough to talk about that, because the other side of that is when we do events, we, you know, women will walk, they'll see our stand and, you know, leak-proof underwear for women, and you'll see them look and have a think, and then they'll walk away, and then you'll see them come back. And I remember one lady, she must have walked around about 4 or 5 times. We were busy with customers, and then there was no one there. She came over and she was like, I never knew this was a thing. She said, I thought I was the only one that this was happening to. And she is one of our biggest advocates now. She's a horse rider, and she literally sings from the rooftops about our products. You know, it's given her that confidence to say, actually, we know leaks aren't normal, but it's so common. And yeah, this is happening to me. And I want you to know, because we all know by sharing our story that we're helping somebody else to realise that they're not alone. And I think you've obviously seen a lot of our socials. I talk really freely about all of the things that have happened to me. You know, the things I haven't even discussed on this call yet that will probably come out at some stage. Connie always says that, you know, I'll meet somebody within 5 minutes, they'll know that I wet myself and I have a dry vagina. And that's like something that is actually now I play on quite a lot, especially if I'm in a room with men. I used to feel really embarrassed talking about my product and my issues. But now I think I kind of feel like, right, I'm just going to get this out in the open. This is what I'm here to talk about. And if you feel uncomfortable, tough tea, basically, because this is going to be spoken about today. And what's beautiful is I was on a panel recently with two really like impressive guys, and I was thinking, why am I here? This is like, it was literally a group of mostly men, maybe 3 women, and I started with my usual, and so everybody knew what I was there for, and it always gets a few laughs. But I think that's great, we're all relaxed, like, let's talk about it now. And I must have, after that event, we were drinking tea afterwards, and about 5 of the guys came up to talk to me about their girlfriend who's got really heavy periods, endometriosis, somebody else who was talking about, and it was lovely. They wanted to come up and open that conversation. And for me, that's what it's all about, because we need allies. We need men to understand what we're going through. We don't want any shame around the language that we're using. We don't want to feel embarrassed to talk about these things. So if I can get this out on the table, this is it, that's what we're talking about, and it kind of plants that seed. But actually, this, we need to get this out, we need to talk about it. So this is what I tend to do.
And actually, a lot of us women will talk to our partners about whatever it is that we're experiencing, but never talk about it with anyone else.
Exactly.
And they don't have somebody else to speak to. So it's helpful I think it's like a bit of a connection, to be honest.
Yeah, I think so. And it works. It's worked for me. I've gone from feeling super embarrassed and ashamed about, what's been happening to my body, to really embracing it and knowing that by sharing my story, I am actually making a difference. So I know, with my knickers, they make a huge difference. But part of that is, our brand is me. That's my story, and it's an authentic story. So I shouldn't feel embarrassed and ashamed to share it, and I'm not anymore. So it's been a long time coming. Yay me.
There's a lot of active women who quietly stop high impact classes or marathons or running when leagues start. What would you say to them? And it's probably not even just older women. I can imagine teenage girls feeling the same way if they are participating in sports at school, or even outside of school if they are in clubs, and they feel like their confidence is affected because they don't know how to handle leaks, whether they be bladder or period leaks.
Yeah, I mean, I think especially for young girls, most young girls, even talking about periods is quite taboo. It's embarrassing. Talking about bladder leaks, you can see their faces turned like, oh no, let's not go there, let's not go there. But I think, I can't remember exactly what the stats are, but there's quite a high percentage of young girls who will leak urine, and this is in high impact sports mostly. So you've got your trampolining, your gymnasts, your netball, anything that's high impact, they will suffer with some sort of bladder leak. So we have a partnership with England Netball, and part of our deal was we get to speak to the England Roses and the performance girls, the under 21s. And what we do is our presentation is around periods, period care, bladder leaks, but we're literally scratching the surface. But even then, like, you see them, they're sitting there and just kind of taking it in. Some of them might be on their phone a bit, but at the end, the conversations that we have, and girls are like, I didn't know that, and they didn't know it about their own body. And I'm always shocked, because I think, firstly, you're playing for England, so why are England not supporting you to why are they not talking about these situations? We're literally just scratching the surface. But what's great about these talks is we're opening those conversations, opening the dialogue, and getting lots of questions. And I do remember there was one girl that I was talking to, and she said, oh, I don't think these knickers will work for me because my periods are really heavy. And I said, well, you know what a normal period looks like, how long it should be, how much you're bleeding, how bad the cramps are. And we talked about that, and she went, yeah. I said, have you ever been to the doctor? She went, no. She said, it's fine because my mum's the same. So just, that doesn't make sense. Just because your mum also has heavy periods, your mum has never been to get it checked out, and you've probably struggled all of these years. But it's a lack of education, and that, we need to be going back to school. It needs to be on the school to be delivering these within lessons. There's no point going and learning about algebra, but you don't know what your body parts are called. Surely that's more important than algebra. It needs to be looked at. It needs a rehaul, I think, the whole education system. But we know that women's health is so undervalued, it's underinvested in, under researched. We need to start putting things in place now so girls understand about their bodies, because it took me, I'm 54, and I didn't even know the correct terminology until a couple of years ago. And that's working with my younger co-founder who's worked in the women's health space for a long time. And I used to not call it by its name. She's like, you need to call it by its right name. And I never used to understand the importance, but obviously get now, if there's a problem, I need to be able to explain where the problem is. And these girls do as well. You know, it's just ridiculous. So education is really important, and we deliver that education. There's going to be a hub on our website soon, actually, but we deliver that to the FA. There's lots of sporting teams that we deliver this kind of little scratchy on the surface presentation. But this presentation has really made these girls think about what's happening to their bodies. So yeah, we need to talk about things more.
And I think a lot of that goes back to like what you've just said about the young lady who said, it's okay, my mum went through the same thing. Because it's a generational thing. Like, none of us have been taught, and nothing evolved for the next generation to be taught either. And that's a really hard place to be, I think, because there isn't the education there. And as mums or older women, we don't have the language to teach them either. So we're all going through an educational pattern.
Absolutely. Yeah. So it's not just taking it from schools. We need to educate the mums and the nans as well, so we can pass that knowledge on down. But I find it fascinating when we do these presentations on how some of the girls are just sitting there, they've got their arms crossed, they do not want to be there. And I think, but this is so important. This is your body. This is your health. You need to listen, but they are. This is the thing. Their body language is telling you they're not interested. They don't want to hear it. But then you'll find, I remember we delivered it to a local football club, girls' football club, and there was some girls there. It was a tough crowd. Connie did the presentation. It was a tough crowd, and she was trying to crack funnies, and I'm at the back going, no, you're not funny. They're not finding you funny. This is awful. And she's usually very, very funny. But the girls who were sat there with their arms crossed and completely disinterested were the ones who were hanging around at the end when everybody had left, asking questions. And that's great. Ask away. Everybody needs to be educated around the female form, the female hormones. We all need to know what's going on with our bodies. It's so important.
And I bet most of your best conversations after the event or the talk of it.
Always. You'll talk through, Connie will do the presentation, I'll be sitting at the back, I'll pipe in every now and again, but it's at the end, that's when the girls are, quite vocal and, I didn't know that, I didn't realise that, and what about this? And what we do is when we go in, we're not just talking about our underwear, because at the end of the day, we want women to have choices, and our underwear maybe isn't the right product for everybody. So we talk about the fact that, if you're using tampons and pads, then use an organic brand, like Grace and Green. They're fantastic. They've got amazing products. We do a lot of work with them. Or menstrual cups. Menstrual cups are incredible. I used a menstrual cup when I was bleeding all of that time, and we work really closely with a company called Unicorn, and the work that she delivers, the education that she delivers is second to none. So we're not just talking about, right, these are the knickers, you've got to wear these, nothing else that you should try. We're all about you have to have choice, and you have to feel comfortable with the products that you're using. So I think that's really important as well. We're not just going out to sell. We want everybody to be using the products that they feel happy and confident with. But we do still think our knickers are in
it. As full-time underwear of the year Red magazine winner, what metric makes you the proudest?
I mean, those awards, that 4 times award from the Women's Running magazine it's just wonderful. And every year you never go in thinking, oh, we've won it. Every year, they need to be tested. They're sent out to different women. So every year different women have tested those and have said they're the best. It means a lot. It does mean a lot to win awards, but it's not the be all and end all of my business. The most important thing for me is our customers and that they're happy. So for me, the metric that I suppose I go by is our reviews. And we have amazing reviews on our website, on our Google, on our Facebook, comments that are left under our social media. That for me is how I measure our success, is by knowing that I have happy customers who have returned, who are recommending our knickers to their friends, who are singing about us on social media. That's how I measure our success.
Makes it worth it.
Oh my God, honestly, I do. I still sit here sometimes and a review will come through. And like I said, that people can be really candid. And I will cry, I will sit and cry. And never, ever underestimate leaving a review, an honest review on a small business's website, because it is just the best feeling ever. And I remember seeing those little TikToks when people say our review come in and they're like, yeah, this is great. It actually is. It's the best feeling ever. I remember when we first started the company and we'd actually been in the Women's Running magazine, and that kind of really helped to catapult us, I suppose, within the space that we were in, and started to get reviews, and they were all 5-star. And then one night, just before I went to bed, checked my phone and I'd got a 1-star review.
Oh no! All night.
Oh my God, I didn't sleep. I cried myself all night. I didn't even sleep because I cried all night. The next day I was crying. My husband was like, "What's wrong?" And I told him, and he said, "Well, you need to go back." And I felt like it was quite confrontational, but I thought, no, I need to find out what happened. Anyway, I had a lovely email with this woman. And it's really difficult with bladder leaks. Some women will say, well, they're rubbish because I leaked all the way through them, but it's so difficult to know actually how much you're leaking, and they are just for light leaks. And it turned out that she bought our lightest pair of knickers, but she had very heavy bladder leaks. So I sent her a different pair of knickers, and she tried those and then emailed me and said, I absolutely love these. Can I take my 1-star review off? And I was like, yes, you can. But just working with her, that gave me the confidence to, because I didn't feel like I was confident enough to go back to people and to try and deal with the situation. But I know now dealing with the situation head on and speaking to the customers is the best way to build up a great customer rapport. And that's what we do. We do reply to everybody that either leaves a review or emails to us. I remember getting a review once saying, great customer service. Kelly from customer service needs a raise. And at the time, we was just self-funded. I wasn't even getting paid. I felt like saying, I wish poor old Kelly in customer services even got paid. That would be nice. It's, when you set up your business, you're doing every single job possible. I love it. It's very, very rewarding. And the best part of it is hearing from the customers. And also, the National Running Show, when we do the National Running Show, and actually the London Marathon now, we've got people that come up, they come straight to our stand to see us. We get cuddles. They're like old friends. They're buying more knickers. They're bringing their friends along to buy knickers. They're telling other people who are standing at the stall, these are the best knickers ever. They're doing our job for us. So it's very, very fulfilling.
And I guess in that 1-star review case, that person has bought a product that wasn't necessarily fit for purpose.
Absolutely.
And they didn't know about it, right?
Yeah. So it was just having that conversation, and actually, getting that and talking to her and realizing actually maybe we need to change the description. We need to work on our website a little bit better. So it's all, every review you get through it helps you to build your business, to make sure it's right and that you've got the correct information for every customer to be able to make an informed choice when they're purchasing.
Kelly, you built from lived experience. What's one decision that you'd repeat and one you'd change?
One I would repeat and one I would change. Do you know what? I think the money's in AI. So maybe I'd set up an AI company rather than a retail company, because we're doing well. We love it. I don't know if I would change. I love what I do. I love everything that I do. I think I would be braver. I don't think I've been brave enough. And I think that comes from a lack of business experience. Like I said, I was a foster carer for 19 years. I didn't really have any business experience. I would probably, before I set up my company, I would educate myself on actually running a company. I went in very, very blind, very naively, very green around the gills. So I would probably change that. I'd educate myself more on building a business, definitely. And what would I repeat? Oh God, it's a tough question. What would I repeat? Well, actually, my son has just set up a men's leak-proof pants company.
Wow.
So, yes, he's 23. He was working. He's seen what we've done. Unfortunately, his granddad passed away he had bladder cancer. And so he's seen the effect that, leakage can have on men as well. And he was really passionate about doing that. So almost in a way, I've helped him to set that business up. So I have repeated, I suppose, the setup that we've got with NIXI Body, but in a male-oriented way. So, just repeat, I suppose, helping people. just helping people to carry on with their life without the fear of leaks, I suppose, and giving them the confidence to go about their daily business. I would repeat that in as many ways as I possibly could.
What's your hope for the future of NIXI Body?
I want us to be, so we're evolving all of the time. So we started off, and I remember people saying to me, like, who's your target audience? And it's very easy to say it's any woman from 9 to 100 who has a period or suffers with bladder leaks. But they're like, no, who's your target audience? And we've realized that, you know, I set the business up because of my love of exercise and my love of moving my body. So we kind of went round to the whole, right, we're here for sports. We're here to keep you moving. So what we're doing is we are looking at our offering. So I want to grow. I don't want to be this company that, like, we're not just going to do knickers. We're going to do this. We're going to do that. I want to do knickers really, really well. I want to do sports underwear really, really well. So I want to evolve from just leak proof to sports performance underwear and kind of get into that realm as well. So I think we can grow it into something like that. I want to be the brand that women come to when they're moving their body, and it's not just for leaks, for periods, for bladder leaks. It's for just moving their body. So they just have a decent pair of knickers, discreet knickers that they can wear underneath their leggings, their shorts, that they feel comfortable in, that they can move where there's no rubbing or chafing. I want to be that brand that every woman comes to get their sports underwear. That's what I want to do.
So the headline today is Movement Shouldn't Pause for Menstruation, Motherhood or the Menopause. And Kelly's made leak proof feel like confidence, not compromise with NIXI Body. Kelly, thank you for an incredible conversation today and your candor. It's much appreciated. And before we go, please, could you let our listeners know where they can find you online or how they can learn more about your work?
So we can be found at our website, which is NIXI Body, NIXIBODY.com. We are on social, so we're on Instagram, we're on Facebook, and we're on TikTok. And I can be found on LinkedIn under Kelly Newton. So thank you so much. I've just had the best time. It's been so lovely chatting to you. Thank you, Disha.
Thank you, Kelly. And I encourage everyone listening to check out those links, and the links will be in the show notes too. Do follow the Trailblazers on Instagram, LinkedIn, or visit thetrailblazers.com to stay updated on future episodes and behind the scenes content. Once again, I'm Disha Solanki with Kelly Newton, founder of NIXI Body. Thank you for listening today.